Yo, what is up guys, Huahwi here, and today I'll be showing you all some MCSG PvP tactics, tips, and tricks. First, I want to start off with some basics. Sword. When using the sword, you want to click relatively fast and get a nice rhythm going. Something like this. Critical hits. They do up to 50% more damage compared to regular attacks. A lot of people think that jumping will get you a critical hit, but as you can see now, I'm jumping and hitting him, and you do not see any particles. Because I am going up. When I am going up and hitting someone, you will not get a critical hit. In a second, he'll come back. Okay, so you only get a critical hit when you're falling down. See those star particles? That's a crit. You only get critical hits when you are on the falling motion. Strafing. Strafing is when you're attacking while moving side to side. This makes you harder to hit and it allows you to get extra hits on your opponent if executed correctly. With a little imagination and great timing, you can pull off some pretty sweet combos. Block hitting. You block hit by pressing the left click and then the right click on your mouse. This allows you to attack and block at the same time if you press it fast enough. Block hitting or just blocking in general slows your movement speed tremendously, so be careful. On the plus side, there is a high chance that you will block half the damage from your opponent and at the same time attack with full damage with your sword. Bow. The more you use it, the better you'll get with it. It takes practice to become an exceptional bow user. You want to almost always fully pull back your bow. Sometimes you can double pull back your bow at shorter ranges and land an awesome combo like this. I do not recommend single pulling back your bow because it only does half a heart damage and deals a slight knockback. I suggest single pulling back your bow only if you're trying to get out of a corner. If you want to achieve Katniss level bow skills, you have to be really good at guessing your opponent's next move. Flint and Steel. This is a very magical item. It is mainly used to defend yourself when you're in danger, fighting teams, but it can also be used to initiate a fight. The fire will light your opponent up, dealing half a heart of damage each tick. The fire lasts for 8 ticks, and every tick will slow your opponent down a little bit so that you'll be able to catch up to them. Fishing Rod. This item doesn't do any damage, but landing the hook on someone will knock your opponent back slightly and cause your opponent to miss a few hits. This is also known as the fishing rod stun. To compete with many of the great players today, you must learn how to use this. Don't underestimate the fishing rod. Alrighty, so on the first slot I have my weapon, second slot flint and steel, third slot fishing rod, fourth slot bow, and this fifth slot is actually a golden apple. It has a cake right now, but I'm on a different server, couldn't find any golden apples, so that's a golden apple. 6th slot flint and steel, 7th slot flint and steel, 8th slot food, and my last slot arrows. So now I'm gonna explain my hotbar setup. So first, when you're moving using WASD, the 4 buttons closest to me is 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm really used to these hotkeys from playing other games. I always use hotkeys, I don't use mouse scroll. 5 is a little bit harder to reach. Everything after 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I will not reach those hotkeys. I'll use scroll for the last 4 slots. But yeah, iron sword, first slot, pretty basic. You know, in most games, your weapon is going to be on your first slot, and muscle memory. I have access to this all the time, and I always know where my weapon is. 2, flint and steel. Some people might have their flint and steel on other slots, but I put on my second slot personally because I can pull off some combos with this. So if my enemy is coming towards me and I'm going towards him with my sword, he won't expect me to do this and knock him back into the fire, and he'll be on fire and I'll be strafing him and he'll be dead. Because once you're on fire, it's really hard to escape from that against a good PvPer. And yeah, I have quick access to that. I can switch to my sword right after lighting up that fire pretty quickly. This takes practice. You have to be really fast. 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1. It's actually 2 right click 1, 2 right click 1, 2 right click 1, 2 right click. You don't have to do it super fast, but you know, once you get used to it, it's 2-1, 2 right click 1, 2 right click 1, 2 right click 1. So this is the infinite fishing rod technique that I'm going to show you guys. So you see how when you right click your fishing rod and hit someone with it and then you pull it back, you'll lose their ability. See, my fishing rod is losing their ability right now. Okay, so for it to not lose their ability, you gotta hit them with the fishing rod, switch to another slot, and switch back to the fishing rod. You actually don't have to switch back to a fishing rod, but if you want to use your fishing rod again, you switch back to your fishing rod, and now you see how it's not losing any durability. This is the infinite fishing rod. Fishing rod, I have my third slot, so I can quick switch to it by pressing 3 and 1. Alrighty, so when I'm going in for a fight and trying to get a first hit, I want to try to attack the guy at an angle, like right here on the right side, then go on the opposite angle, try to get a little strafe, block hit, and bam. When you're charging for a fight, you don't always have to attack from an angle, you can just attack him directly, and you know, block hit, do some strafing. You gotta mix it up. It depends. It really depends on whether your opponent is going, it depends on his knockback, excuse me. You gotta know where your opponent is going, how far he's knocked back, and kind of measure the distance. And so you want to know the range between your sword, flint and steel, fishing rod, and bow. So for example, the sword, there's gonna be 1, 2, 3 blocks between us, and I'm not gonna be able to hit him, so I have to move a little bit past that third block, and bam, I can hit him. So the range of your sword is actually 2.5, or pretty much 2.5 blocks. So don't really count on 3 blocks between you and your opponent, because there's gonna be a little lag or delay when you're chasing someone and fighting. So yeah, 2.5 blocks. So the flint and steel has a maximum range of 4 blocks. So as you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, I can light them up. The fishing rod range varies, and this comes with experience. You're just gonna have to experience it and you understand how far it can actually get. But if the opponent is too far, there's really no reason to fishing rod him, because the knockback it deals is just very minor if he's running away. But if he's coming towards you, Niggles, come towards me, the knockback is pretty insane and he won't be able to get close to me. And if you knock back from the side, look at the side. Look at the side for a bit. The knockback on the side is pretty good too. So if someone's sprinting sideways, Niggles sprint sideways, he'll get stunned a little and you'll be able to gain some distance. But if he's running straight in front of me, running away, Niggles running away from me, it really doesn't really do much unless he's really close to me. So yeah. Bow range, it also comes with experience. It also depends on your drawback. If you do a single drawback, double, and then a triple drawback, it'll go further. See, that's a double drawback, full drawbacks further, and yeah. Alrighty, let's say you're low and someone's chasing you. You gotta learn how to use the F5 button or toggle perspective button. This can be found at the controls. It's gonna be called toggle perspective. Default, it's gonna be F5, but for me, I change it to a button that I'm comfortable with, clicking fast and able to move and F5 at the same time. So this is going to be on a side button that's on my mouse. Having side buttons on your mouse is really useful because on my keyboard the F5 button is pretty far away and I have to let go of my sprint key just to hit the F5 button. So after getting comfortable with your hotbar and settings, here are some of the many tactics that I personally use when I PvP. And see Niggles, he's chasing me. You want to get used to F5ing a lot and doing a 180 flint steel. Doesn't have to be too fast, as long as you're accurate, you know, that's fine. After he gets flint steeled and he's still chasing me, it's fine to turn back, fishing rod him, and do a hit. So he's chasing me, fishing rod, I'll do a hit. Fishing rod, do a hit. So that'll get you an extra hit most of the time, and you know, after a fishing rod, you can mix it up and, you know, strafe him a little and get some nice hits on him, nice combos, get some crits. Because when you're strafing, you don't always have to run, but you can also crit and strafe at the same time. Now that is a sprint key, it's pretty OP. So yeah, but when you're fighting a team of 2 or a really good player, you can sometimes, you know, light 2 fires and make sure there's one block between both of them. That should be fine. If it's 2, he might probably get away with it. He might run around because most good players will try to run around. So, you know, make it a little bit wide. See, if they're directly right next to each other, he'll probably just run around it. So yeah. Alright, but if you're on fire, you should most likely run and let's see, I'm on fire right now and Nigo's gonna try to kill me. Try to use your fishing rod to fend away your opponent and you know, just run. And if you have a flint and steel, counter a flint and steel with another flint and steel. Because that's how you counter a flint and steel. There's really no counter to it unless you're really good with the fishing rod aim and bow aim. If you're really good with that. It also depends how much armor you have, but yeah, pretty much the only way to counter flint and steel is to flint and steel him back or just try to run and hopefully he doesn't have enough arrows to bow spam you and kill you. So sometimes I try to lock down my opponent if I have enough arrows by shooting arrows in front of him or towards where he's going because he'll meet up with that arrow and get hits. If he continues to run that direction, he will get locked down and he's gonna have a bad time. So just get used to the rhythm of the bow. It's like 1-2, 1-2. That's a double drawback, double drawback. There's a little rhythm to it. And now fully drawn back, it's just a little bit. It takes a little bit more time to do that, but once you get the rhythm right, you can always double draw back your bow and it'll look like you're shooting really fast. And it does a decent amount of damage, 1.5 hearts double drawback, so don't be afraid to do that if you have a lot of arrows. But against a good player, you're gonna have to always draw back your bow because he won't always be running the same direction and it won't be obvious where he's moving. To make it less obvious, you should just sprint and not sprint jump because sprint jumping kind of makes it obvious, and just do a little zigzags and when you're dodging arrows, and you know, you're gonna have to choose a direction where you think he's not gonna aim. If you feel that you can't dodge certain arrows, you can always block them. Blocking arrows reduces the damage by half and is definitely recommended when fighting against strong bow users, aka link dudes. Wink. I've just recently learned about this technique and it works great. Give it a try and you'll be astonished on how little damage you take when blocking arrows. On the topic of vulnerabilities, be careful when you're block hitting. Block hitting slows you down and gives good sword users a chance to get a good strafe on you. When you get strafed, there's a high chance that you'll miss your attacks. High ground versus low ground. That depends. When you're attacking at high ground, there's a high chance that you can knock your opponent off the edge. When you're on low ground, you'd want to find a nice angle and block hit your opponent to reduce getting knocked off the edge. When it comes to sword fights underwater, low ground wins. Alright, so this video is getting really long and I can still go on about some minor things that you guys will definitely learn as you keep playing. But for now, this is enough information to build up your PvP skills. Before you go about practicing these tips and tactics, I want to give you all some mental advice that I personally use. Stay cool, calm, and collected. If you get killed by a team, just say to yourself, oh man, that sucks, and move on. We all get frustrated sometimes, yeah, I understand, we're all human. Just don't get this thought stuck in your head and just learn to let it go. You want to get better and you know you're better than that. And hey, you team too. I team too. It's fun playing with friends. It's pretty fun teaming sometimes. You can't solo every game without getting sick of it. Play to win. If you want to get better faster, your goal is to win the game, no matter who's in your way. Once you get to a certain level of skill, you'll see that you don't have to try as hard to win compared to before. Make smart decisions. If you're low on health and you're still getting chased, don't climb a ladder or vines. You're just asking to be killed. Awareness. You always want to be aware of what's going on around you. Play with some sound, enough so that you can hear footsteps that are coming near you. Experience, learn, practice, and grow. So now that you've watched this far into my video, one day you too can be...
Yeah, we did it, but we did it on Breeze Island once, on 9001.
Yeah, me and tried to lag like the first 10 minutes of it.
This guy's actually quite good, he's now going after Billy.
Actually, no, that was back in the first one. We did it on Breeze Island, and that was
Come on, Billy, you can still kind of release
I stood out for said no,
Someone needs to die. Oh, wow.
Oh!
wow, both of them are on fire, very intense. I'm sure both of them are like a few hearts away from dying. So Huahwi is now eating a golden apple and taking on Variation. Variation is now dead. He is out of the game, slain by Huahwi. Huahwi is still battling Hyper. I think Hyper is now low because he's running away. And Huahwi's moving in. Hyper's now on fire. I don't know how he got on fire right there. Oh, and he's running in the water. That can be a problem. Oh, Hyper is dead. Slain by Huahwi. And now Huahwi has full iron armor and the diamond sword. And off comes Kranza just jumping off the bridge there, trying to get the jump on Huahwi. He's getting bow spammed at the moment. And oh snap! Wow, what a shot by Huahwi. I think he's going in. Yeah. Trying to get the bow shots, not really working out there. Oh, and we'll see who's gonna get the jump here. I think it's Huahwi. Oh, it's Huahwi. Tyro is down. Seishun just died to Huahwi. Wasn't able to catch that match, but right here you can see Huahwi picking up his items. And then, ooh, Link Dude coming from behind. Oh, Link Dude is down. Oh wow, almost got the jump on Huahwi right there. Looks like Epic Alpha just went over the spot where Kerbals and Rossi fought each other, so... Oh, Epic is in the water, so that's not going to be good for him. Oh, Epic is slain, so now it is just the worst, and Huahwi, especially with the amount of gear that Huahwi has, it's going to be a challenge for just the worst teams. Alright, here we go. Looks like Just the Worst is gonna move in here. And Just the Worst is on fire. I think we're done here. Yes, we are. Just the Worst has been slain, and Huahwi has won.
Oftentimes people come up and say, "Hey Bruce, are you really that good?" I said, "Well, if I tell you I'm good, probably you will say I'm boasting. But if I tell you I'm no good, you know I'm lying." But